So another fun technique to do is called stamp to stamp stamping. So what you're doing is you're using texture stamps to add some texture to more solid silhouette stamps. So I've got 3 different textures on those trees there. If I were not to add those textures, this is what the trees would look like there. So it just adds a little bit of interest to it. And it's just a fun technique to do. So this is how you do it. So I've got 2 different colored inks, one darker than the other. I've got my tree stamps, and apparently I don't have a piece of paper ready for it to do them. So I gotta go get that. So now we are ready. I'm gonna take my 2 ink pads here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna take my darker ink and I'm going to put it on my darker, or my pattern. And I don't need to ink the entire stamp. The stamp that I'm using isn't big enough to fit this whole thing anyway, so there's no point in inking up that entire stamp. Now I'm going to ink my tree up with a lighter color, and then I'm going to simply stamp it onto that background stamp, lift it and stamp it onto my card front. So there we go. And now you've got the texture from this stamp in this one here. So I'm going to change up my stamps so that I don't have 3 exactly the same ones in a row. If you want to have 3 exactly the same, you absolutely can. I'm just choosing not to today. So dark ink on the pattern, light ink on my tree, and then I'm going to stamp it firmly on the pattern and then stamp it on my card front. Let's get these guys out of the way. You definitely want to make sure that your stamps are on a solid surface and not on a bumpy surface. This one here, this is just a set that's got some random patterns in it, but they are big enough to cover my tree there. So I'm going to use this guy right here. Make sure it's completely covered. Now putting the light color on my tree, and then stamping it to my pattern, and then right to my card front. Tuck that aside. And then I've got just a little sentiment here. I thought Be Original was cute with this one simply because the trees are a little bit original because of the patterns. But there you go. Fun way to get some pattern within some solid color stamps. Solid rubber stamps. Some patterns are going to work better than others, but there you go. Just a fun technique to try and to experiment with.